welcome back to the Intel Extreme Masters Brazil with not a rapper in sight. It is, of course, the semi-final number 2.
Ouch. Ooh, burn.
Wow. Yeah, well, whatever.
That was worse than my comment yesterday.
Is it? Well, that'll be top up Reddit by the end of the day. Red Eye hates rappers. It is LGIM versus MYM for our second game of the day. LGIM already 1-0 up after a patient play, I would say, in their first game to win the opening game. We're going to try and get into picks and bans fairly quickly to get this one underway as well. Before we do that, your thoughts, Joe, on that first game?
Yeah, it was a close one still. I mean, they started off brilliantly, LGIM. They played, I'd say, typical Korean style, going very, very aggressive in places. But, you know, I don't think their game plan quite factored in the Meteor Makers' kind of passive play and holding back, farming their way back into the game, and, you know, giving them a real challenge at the end.
Yeah, I really have to say, I was surprised at how passive Meteor Makers was playing, because we're used to them being very aggressive, seeing level 1 action, but over the past 2 weeks, I don't think we've seen any level 1 action out of them in terms of them being the aggressor. But yeah, I mean, it was such a long game. Meteor Makers, got to give credit to them, you know, mentally, just to stay focused that long in the game, to hold on, to keep clawing your way back in. But then again, you know, one mistake, as we were mentioning, that Lisa and Ring flashing in, kicking Charu back into the team can lose you a game.
Yeah, and that's what ended up happening. 55 minutes and 48 seconds, that game. It was the longest we've had of any of the games so far here at the Intel Extreme Masters Brazil. So what are we expecting for game 2?
Lee Sin ban.
A Lee Sin ban, probably.
Yeah.
Probably a Twisted Fate ban.
I don't know.
Maybe.
To me, I don't feel like he was that much of a threat early on. It was just like
early on,
but the thing is, as the game progressed, like into the 40-minute mark, he had enough AP at 700 something AP at the end of the game where he could have taken turrets down, instantly. But he really didn't do much besides that. He was a little bit of an annoyance, pushed the bot lane a couple times, but in team fights, he really wasn't, a crucial member.
Yeah, looks like we're almost ready to go in this one. I think that a lot of teams have said in the past the best way to beat a Korean aggressive style is to match them and even out-aggress them.
That's what I was hoping for, yeah.
And Meteor Makers are a team that can do that. So I'm hoping that that's the kind of thing that they're going to go for you in this second game. You can see there the admin just behind them telling them that they can get underway with the picks and bans, and we're going to jump in there.
Right, well, right away we see a Kazakhstan coming out of Meteor Makers. They're going to be our blue team this time, as LGIM is going to be the purple or red, depending on how you're looking at it. And LGIM, they're doing exactly what they did game 1. They're playing doing very slow bans here. Just want to talk it over, make sure they ban out exactly what they want. And Meteor Makers, I wouldn't be too surprised if they actually do the exact same bans and do it really quickly. And as I say that, they take a while on the second ban.
Well, at least banned out there by Incredible Miracle, which doesn't surprise me either. We've seen how effective Elise can be at singling out those targets. The Cocoon as well is a great bit of CC in her kit. So such a versatile champion with those kind of stance switches there, with Shen being another ban, which again I totally agree with Shen, in my opinion, very much worth it. There is the Twisted Fate ban.
It's better for the lottery, Joe.
It's interesting that MYM have banned out Shen, because actually he's the most banned out champion by Incredible Miracle, so it's interesting that they've banned him anyway.
I'm not too familiar if Cubone actually plays him that much in the top lane.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone has to play him in the top lane, but I don't think he's necessarily that confident on that kind of champion.
Yeah. Second most banned out player by MYM is Lee Sin right now, so is that what we're going to see?
No. Olaf, which is, I think, a more important ban than Lee Sin.
You can't give a Korean team an Olaf. You just can't do that.
So, Incredible Miracle, what will they go for last? At least Twisted Fate.
I mean, you have still Wukong available, which we know Charu is an excellent Wukong player.
That's true.
Third most banned by Incredible Miracle so far is Kale,
which is also not a bad ban against Meteor Makers. They've gone for Xin Xiao, which they've not got first pick. We've been seeing him picked up first by a lot of teams, so makes sense as well.
Yeah, a lot of teams. We know Makade, though, he likes to play Kale in the jungle. Curious to see if he's actually going to run it here. I mean, I haven't really been a big fan over this entire tournament of DPS junglers. Just haven't seemed to found their niche yet, as Jace is a very good pickup as well. And we know how well Charu can play him in that mid lane if they want to run it there.
Kubon as well in the top lane if they end up going that way. And we've seen time and time again, like I said about Elise, a versatile champion with those stance switches, but also the poke that you get from Jace. And also his utility in terms of that speed boost through the acceleration gate is really, really strong. One thing they've left open here, though, is Misfortune and Amumu.
Very true. Actually, they might even be baiting that kind of pick in. I know they played against it a couple of times over the past couple of weeks, but they must be very confident if they want to let a Korean team kind of run that against them, since they were the ones that kind of coined that whole strategy and have been practicing it, I have to say, a lot more than any other team.
So still 12 seconds or so.
We have Nunu. Sorry, we still have Nunu up. We still have Lulu. We still have Zyra as well. Would be bad to pick up a sport here, but going for Rumble, which Meechmaker's Cubone, I mean, he didn't do too bad with them late game. He actually had some pretty good ultimates that really set up the fights, and he had a lot of damage on top of that with the Lianges and that Riley's Crystal Scepter build.
He's been real popular this tournament,
yeah,
and I like to see that as well. I think Rumble is a very strong pick coming out there. Meechmakers, and they've done a lot of misfortune this event. Sona and Zyra are actually their second and third most picked champions here, as we are seeing that Zyra, which again could be in the mid lane, could be as a support player, leaving LGI, I'm guessing.
You know, Joe, we were watching that last game, and Libic just, for some reason, he just couldn't hit his grasping roots. He was just having a tough time, whether it be lag or whether it be, you know, being tired. I don't know. To me, I don't think you should pick that up. Maybe go for a Sona where it's more safe. That Crescendo is so deadly in a team fight. You have the movement speed as well to help with the acceleration get out of Jay, so you can get across the map. You can engage really quickly. To me, that would be kind of a better pickup.
Well, let's see what they pull in here. Ezreal. So they don't want to give anything away. I mean, they didn't need to pick that Ezreal now, but the point with taking that now is that they don't have to show any other hand.
Right.
The other thing as well is that Zyra and Ezreal are actually the two most picked Incredible Miracle players, champions so far, so maybe they were steals.
We are seeing Sona being sat on now, which, as I was saying before, is so versatile, so just good in general. He gives you that sustaining lane, and he gives you that really strong initiate and really strong CC in these team fights. And if you stack it up with a Rumble ultimate, can be quite good. I mean, if you have like a Mumu jungle as well, you have a perfect kind of combo right there.
Well, let's see if the choice for mid king here will be that Mumu to go in. I mean, that is a very, very strong AoE team then if they go for that.
Lee Sin's always also sitting there as well.
You know, speaking of AoE teams, I was always wondering, why isn't Maokai played anymore? Because he has that ultimate to reduce AoE damage. It would shut down the Misfortune ultimate. And, you know, with this team right here, with Rumble, with Sona, it would be a pretty good pick.
Because they want to play Lee Sin in the jungle, Jason. That's
no,
why.
sorry, I meant for Meechmakers.
Yeah. Well, still is an option. Although, Makata with Maokai, I've watched these players play so much that I can't even remember how often he's played Maokai, but I want to say not so often in there as well.
Well, the thing that I'm thinking is that the skill shots with this ping is really hard to pull off. We saw Libic having a tough time with that Zyra to land the aggressive roots, but if you have a pretty much guaranteed snare...
Amumu has been one of the most picked throughout this tournament.
Yep.
But I mean, you can always flash in and use that ultimate.
Just use your ultimate.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I missed the bandage toss, I'm going to flash in anyway. Ping won't get the better of me that time. But there is an Ahri, which, if my mind serves me correctly, I don't think we've seen from Meechmakers so far this tournament.
There's Nunu sitting there, there's Nocturne in there as well.
I'm not really a big fan of that at the moment. Okay, good. I think he switched it.
There's
as
the more likely one.
I was going to say that you can dive in the backside of the team, but who do you have to back you up? You're going to be all alone. But the Mumu switch up pretty good. I mean, Zyra and Mumu stacked up. You have the acceleration to get a Mumu in there very quickly. You have Ahri, who's very mobile, can land a nice charm, pull someone out if need be. But, you know, Ahri with this ping is kind of something that worries me a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, those charms are going to be very, very crucial, especially in the early mid-game where they set up all the fights. If you catch someone with that charm, you can turn the game. Whether he'll be able to land them, I still don't think that... I think we're kind of overplaying the whole ping thing. I think that they can still hit them in, and there is a Rise. Good job, Jason. Good job.
Yeah, I mean, they have... If we see Rumble built the same way he's going to do last game, gets really tanky. You have Lee Sin, who just pretty much builds straight tank. And then you have Rise, who just does that as well. And, you know, the Room Prison, just like Ahri, can set up an entire fight. If you get a nice flash engage with the Room Prison, you can set up your entire combo to hit right behind that. And looking at it, Joe, I mean, both teams have very strong compositions.
Yeah, I'm not really sure our favor in this one. I mean, Misfortune is very strong, and the Korean teams in particular have always pulled out these strong Misfortunes. The Rise, if we're going to go towards that ping issue, he's probably the easiest one to hit everything with.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking to some of the Brazilian teams yesterday, Freak and I, and they were mentioning how they can't really afford to play any champions or most champions that require a lot of skill shots like Gragas. But Rise, I mean, it's just, there is no skill shot about that. It's just about your position if you can play that well.
Okay, so do we think that Ari is a stretch?
I don't think so. We saw Ari played earlier on in the tournament and seemed to be fine from that.
All right, well, we are about to get underway for our second semi-final, the second match of the semi-final between LG, IEM and MYM. Who's got game? We're about to find out.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the casting booth. Freak here and Rivington the third. What's going on, guys? So we have a pretty sweet matchup coming in here. Yeah. We've actually been able to look over these computers where the players have been, practicing and playing, and a lot of Meet Your Makers. Zaru's been on Ari at least 3 or 4 games they're playing in solo queue.
Yeah, he's been practicing that champion quite a bit, and I like this pick in general from him. It's actually very akin to Twisted Fate, where he's going to be highly mobile. Of course, he's got teleport in that mid lane, and he's going to be all over the place looking to just land ganks, land charms, hit the skill shots, and just destroy people with Spirit Rush and all the damage output. He's going to have, I think, a pretty good time of this, and that's kind of what Meet Your Makers had in Game 1. That was where their comeback came from, was Charu getting around the map, making plays, picking up kills, and they've given him the exact same type of champion. The champion who can get in there, pick someone out, get the kill, and go from there. And so I like that as the major focus. Now the difficulty is LGIM has a really good area of effect team. They've got Misfortune, Sona, and Rumble together. Those ults are going to wreak a lot of havoc. You can see LGIM up on your screen, a Lilac, and there's a ring next to him, and you just got to go down the line right there. Mid King, Paragon, Lasha down at the very end. And of course the same thing for Meet Your Makers. So let's see what we got going on here. We are into the game. LGIM in the red team, Meet Your Makers in blue. Let's do this.
Pings are already going out for Wraith wards on both sides here. They say, actually, we want coverage on both sides. Make sure we know what's going on. Mid King's going to stand right in mid and just hang out there. I like that pick for the Ari, shutting down that dash in and really the gap closer as well. You see Rise against Ari, against that Katarina. He's just really good if anybody wants to get in the middle of your team. LG just throwing out some pokes, getting some safe wards down, but it doesn't look like too heavy an invasion, as everybody's quite spread. They may move to this bottom tri-bush to the 140 invade.
The fact that they're all together like this means 2 things. So one, as long as they can learn and land charm, they're looking for a possible Wraith ward. It's a very common ward to put one right here, and with MYM sitting right here, if someone goes for it, they can land the skill shot, pick him off, get an easy first blood. And so you're noticing that instead, LJM are putting a safe ward down, actually their Explorer ward just right here, but they've got no vision over Wraiths. But the fact they're still together, unless he recalls, their top laner recalls very soon. I think there's 5 here. Yeah, there's the recall. They could still go for a late invade here.
So on this, more than not, we have seen lane swaps. It's going to be Jace actually going top, so it's going to be up to LGIM to do that if they wish, and the 80 carry is already poised to enter the bottom lane after helping with blue. So we're actually going to have one of our real first just engagements of regular lanes here, top, mid, and bottom. And looks like MYM will go for that late invade.
All right, so both teams explore what's timing out and looking for it, but Lasha's going to see them coming. Now it's going to be a numbers game, so it's going to be a 3-on-4 here.
Oh, just missing that, but it's going to be Lasha stuck in the first blood coming out for Mackler. That was perfect for them.
And another great follow-up. They dropped the pink ward down in that brush to make sure they're not getting spotted. Look at that. He won't even have to use Smite because he knows Ring Troll is not here. That was actually amazing on so many levels. I mean, great initiation there, landing every one of their abilities. They're even going to leave the Lizard up to delay the spawn, and that's going to just be a world of hurt here. It's going to be a very late second blue coming out for LGIM, I should say, and Rise is not going to like that.
Meet Your Makers trying to push Paragon as much as they can, knowing they're down, or knowing that Paragon is down right now. They want to press the advantage as soon as possible. Mumu coming into middle on Rise, but Mid King will see that for the early gank, knowing he's coming out of his jungle and play it safe.
Yeah, so Mumu mostly going to look for farm right here. Going actually towards his own blue buff right away, which I like, because here comes Ring right across the side. Now this has still been warded, and thing is, Mummy, he's actually going to go in. He doesn't know that Ring is here. He doesn't know he's right on the back. Now, Mummy has Smite, and Lee Sin does not. But the problem is he's going to show up too soon. Here comes the fight.
And he's going to get Tempest down. That's a Mumu being slowed. He could force the flash on this one, but will he be able to get to the wall in time? The potion's going to keep him pretty healthy from these hits. He will get out from Kuban there.
Yeah, he gets Kuban down there. Kuban's going to keep him safe. Ari did not actually move around. The difficulty is that this ward's going to time out, and Ring still has map control. And so the problem is Mummy is going to have to recall back. This is so unsafe of him. Ward's going to time out. He doesn't know where Ring is.
He forces himself to stay, trying to hit those potions on. Could he be calling for help from middle? Middle's lane is pushed, so they will not be able to do that.
Makate.
He finds him there. Makate going back in, goes for the bandit shot stun, but he still had the Q on. Goes for the gap closer, now forced for the flash, but he does get the blue buff. Or he does have a blue buff still.
Well, yeah, he got the blue buff steal, but the problem is that now you've got, at best, a 2-on-2. Ari finally coming over.
Oh, Kuban getting caught out a little too early, but Ring could go down in the end of this fight. She could throw that orb over the wall. Looks like they're going to back off without the blue here.
Now, Ring's too low now. They know Ari can pick something up. Mid King doesn't have mana. They don't have an easy way of taking that buff down.
Right.
So Charo's going to have, his mid lane back to himself. Pretty equal minion kills there. But Ring making all the right moves, and I'm just surprised. Mim did not reply to that at all. Kuban went over, but Charo did not. Honestly, they just had to send Ari mid lane, have him shove the wave, and just camp that golem buff to allow him to get that. I just think that was a huge mistake by Meet Your Makers.
Again, we see a lot of chases going for those mana pots in lane so they can spam the Qs, keep that wave clear down. Ari pushing in mid as well. Like you said, Ryan's having a few mana problems, and they still don't know that blue buff was not reset. The small golem still stands. They're going to have a hard time coming back onto that one. Blue buff hasn't even worn off of a Mumu yet. That's going to be quite soon, but he may get a lane gank out of this as it's already pushed the turret. The 2-on-2, though, kind of says they may not do it.
Yeah, right now, though, they're pretty much just happy to sit in the lanes. Generally speaking, a Mumu jungles faster and wants to sit in the jungle longer than Lee Sin. It's really up to Lee Sin to actually make moves, look for invades, and that's what you saw early on. He went very aggressively and made a lot of things happen. But Mummy's going to get a lot of gold if nothing really happens here. He's going to want to get level 6 really, really fast. He needs that more than Lee Sin does. So this sort of passive early game is much better for Meet Your Makers.
Looks like bottom lane backs. We'll see the items coming in for both AD carries. They are playing the Doran's Blade and Spell Vamp runes in this lane, which means what, Freak? Where does this come from, and why do they do it?
Well, it's really, really good. So you see right here, not so much for Misfortune. I'm going to check out Ezreal real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Ezreal, no, he has a Vampiric Scepter. None of them actually ran Lifesteal runes. So just, the standard thing is still to go open up Doran's Blade. They've been able to sit far enough back that they're just, they're defensive enough that the 5 life on hit is all they need to survive in lane. Instead of going for those 3 health potions with Boots of Speed or the 2 health potion with the longsword, they can sustain with just the Dorans, and that allows them to, not waste money on consumables, save up until they get the Vampiric Scepter, as Ezreal did, and then they have all the sustain they need.
We may even see Cutie Pie come back with the 3 Dorans in Season 3.
That's a possibility. Hey, Black Cleaver already came back, so he's already on his way.
A lot of things came back, and it looks like Ari will be returning to mid as well. Going ahead and clear this wave. She's getting a little bit of roam on as Jace was grabbing some pressure top from Lilac. Both pretty even here, 34-31 on the mid CS. That creep score is quite level. 1 kill, however, to Rise with 1 assist to Zaru. I should say mid king, that is. 46, however, for the 80 carries in the bottom lane. So that Zyra is getting a little bit more poke harass down. However, the sustain is keeping Paragon there, so he won't be too bad.
I am actually surprised by how well Meet Your Makers did in the bottom lane. I typically consider Sona just a lane that tends to win against Zyra due to having fairly equal poke and better sustain, and that power chord being able to one-shot plants is just such a useful trait to have. But Meet Your Makers have done a very good job with this. They're still up 1 item because of that first blood gold. It's allowing him to be... he's kind of actually matched the Sona sustain here because he's got the Doran's Blade and the Vampiric Scepter, which is a really good place for him to be. Ooh, and they caught Paragon.
Paragon caught out right next to the turret. A beautiful arcane shift keeps him just out of range of turret aggro as he gets a little bit more free damage down. And really, Libic doing a great job of making them focus him. Look at Mackler's full health after that.
And then they had to actually run away right here because Charo hit level 6 and ran bottom immediately. And you just saw LGM. He's like, well, oh, that's a level 6 Ari piece. And they immediately backed off.
Rise was making moves too.
Yeah, well, and of course you must. You have to counter gank when your sort of lane opponent goes to gank your side lane. You've got to show up as well. Now, the gameplay here is that Ari has blue buff and is almost level 7, and she got some fast ability power. So Charo has really, really good wave clear and can shove Mid King up to his turret. So he's going to have this window where he can go to the side lane, and Mid King has to say, I either lose minion kills or I don't counter gank. And both those are bad things.
Yeah, exactly. Mid taking a little bit of pressure here. We do see that Ring is still on the top side of Rise, but Amumu has back, so if there's any ganks to happen now, it is going to be in favor of LGIM with that numbers up. 9,900 gold, pretty much even at 10K. Just hit 10K for both teams here. 8 minutes and 30 seconds into the game. A great pressure on that bottom lane still as they continue to go on this turret. They're really just trying to deny CS. They haven't gotten too much turret damage at all.
You don't really get a lot of turret damage in a 2-on-2 lane because it's just so easy to get counter engaged. If you actually sit there attacking the turret, you're in turret range. So if they go on you, you can't counterattack. Otherwise, you're fighting basically a 2-on-4. That turret is going to do so much damage. So they kind of are trying to shove to the turret, deal some damage, and then hope that Paragon misses last hits underneath the turret, which is what's been happening so far. You can see that those numbers slightly growing because he's missing a little bit of CS under the turret.
We'll go ahead and look at the junglers right now. They did find that the blue went down, so that could be coming up not soon for them, but there won't be a timer for Meet Your Makers, and that's what we saw in the Millennium game as well. When they didn't pressure the blue over and over, it kind of cost them a little bit. So with that aggression in the early game, it kind of means nothing now.
Yeah, you're having kind of a equal gold game. You're seeing this bottom lane still work extremely well for them. But the blue invade, I think, is still paying dividends because you still don't have Rise with a golem buff yet, and that's actually a really big point here. But it should be coming up fairly soonish, and then it'll start balancing out. As far as top lane is concerned, right, they're equal. Mid lane, as far as farm is considered, Rise actually winning, which is just impressive.
Yeah, he's stacking that mana. Also, the Catalyst helping them to sustain in lane. He's like, yeah, I didn't get my blue buff, so every time I level, I'll regen that mana for myself. 85 CS right now goes to Mackler. He is in the highest of the game. See how much gold he has for himself. It's still cheap right there. Oh my gosh, top lane. Fast kill coming up there.
Nice job by Kuban there. Sorry for missing most of that fight, but the all-in power from Jace, and I'm amazed too because he just went Tear of the Goddess Doran's Blade and had the damage output to do it. So excellent play by him. Great burst damage, of course, is one of the hallmarks of Jace, and that worked quite nicely.
Looks like he actually may be going for the Muramana as well.
Oh, here comes the counter gank, the gank the bottom lane.
Ari and Amumu slowly creeping in. There's the Spirit Rush. They're able to get some good damage in. Lasha throws the ultimate out but dies quickly after. Paragon's going to follow. He flashes, but he will go down. One last auto attack before taking his last breath.
Yeah, but still, it's a 2-for-1, and they've got 3 members to hit this turret. But the problem is, Mid King is coming from mid, and they haven't reacted to this. He could get all 3 kills here.
He is going to wait for Lilac to get closer. Lilac's ultimate is up, throws it down perfectly vertical on the fight. There's 1, he dodges the grasping root. There's 2, looking for the triple kill. Will it be given by Lilac? It is a flash from Okate, the flash back in, the room prison, and he actually takes it with a flame spitter.
Excellent fight right there. And now LGIM has numbers advantage. This dragon is theirs.
Very aggressive play there, well timed. That turret had been pushed bottom for quite some time. They had set Paragon and Lasha up for that for a good 20 seconds. It was executed perfectly.
And that was just so impressive too, because Lilac had just respawned after dying top lane and said, hey, they're overextended bottom. We need to try to keep this turret alive. Wait, guys, we can get kills. And yeah, okay, he let Kuban sit there at the top lane. You're going to see him grow a minion lead, get some damage on the turret. But that turret's still alive and Lilac's here. So, I mean, that was absolutely the right call here for Lilac.
Still trying to put some damage on. You can see that shock blast through the acceleration gate, pretty much shredding him as he gets a few more attacks down for free. Just trying to keep the aggression on. Looks like Ring is going to be clearing out his jungle. We're 12 minutes into this one. Absolutely neck and neck. There's about 1k gold and 1 kill separates these two teams. Nobody's really found the objectives. This is one of the maps, or one of the matches, the second game of the day here, and our second matchup of this series has been really slow for these structures.
Yeah, they've really not been able to aggress well. Normally you see turrets go down quickly in 2-on-1 setups because you've just got so much pressure in that lane, it's completely available. In 1-on-1s and 2-on-2s, it's much less likely, and the only time you see turrets go down is when you get a successful gank and you just go for it, as you know we saw earlier right up here. But the problem was the counter gank showed up and they got a triple kill for it, so there have not been any opportunities to take turrets down. There's not been room for it.
A good amount of vision coming out for LGIM right now. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wards across the map. 7 in the Tribush as Zyra moves off of that one. And they are ready. Those are aggressive wards as well. They're also guarding Tribush because Rumble has to push up against this Jace, and he knows that 1v1 is bad. So LGIM setting themselves up for an advantage point here. Kind of Meet Your Makers really defeat this ward setup they have going on.
Oh, I missed it. Sorry. Paragon going down at the bottom lane. Complete whiff on my part, but that bottom lane aggression, just so much damage coming out. Zyra using Ignite and her ultimate to make that one happen.
Lasha very hurt. The ultimate goes down up top on Jace as well. Kuban finds himself falling. and it looks like the bottom lane is going to back after not being able to attack.
So this is going to be interesting because you're basically seeing very opposed lanes here. For Incredible Miracle, basically Rumble is winning by a whole heck of a lot. He's got a lot of gold, but here comes Charu.
Oh, that ward will let him know something's going on. I like the dodge there by Lilac. Double dodge coming in, and he gets himself out happily.
That was excellent play by him. Dodging the charm and turning around, dodging the bandage toss with the flash. Still, without flash is a hard place to be, but that said, Charu did use teleport to make that happen in the first place, so got to say, a worthwhile trade.
Rise pushing up in mid, knowing they were there. He's biding a little bit of time here. He's saying, it takes about 10 seconds to walk down here. As he starts creeping down to the bottom side of the turret, he's giving himself an escape. Just easily walks out of this. No, he didn't see a Mumu coming. Throws down on a Mumu, knowing the Ahri ult is down. They don't have to worry about that. Great mental gameplay from Mid King.
And so much damage coming out from him and from Ring right there. I don't think a Mumu was ready to get one shot there, but it absolutely did just happen. So good sort of patience to not panic, say, yeah, they're coming for me, but wait a second, I can get this one. Really, really nice by him.
And I guess actually Ahri had her ult for that. My mistake. So
yeah,
they just had so much power going into the fight. And Lilac, again, just pushing Kuban out of lane. It was like that one time he was able to get the kill, but not anymore. He's going to go after it. The double burn going on.
That was excellent. And Lilac, like I said, he is winning this lane by a whole heck of a lot. The 2 assist and kill that he got from the bottom lane a while ago, it's put him up 4,700 to 3,900 in gold, and he's using that to just get farther and farther and farther ahead. Despite dying in that 1v1 a while back, he's ahead.
At 15 minutes, Baron has just joined us on Summoner's Rift, but will not be an objective for a good 10 to 20 minutes, depending on how these teams play. Still very slow. We may see our first turret here finally. Probably one of the latest turrets we've seen. These games are giving us a lot of firsts. 8-5 in kills. The gold lead is starting to separate, and we're going to see that happen a little bit more right now.
And there we go, the aggression going up, doing some good damage to Sona. This turret's going to be there, so again, you're seeing these top and bottom lanes be equal but opposite. The laws of thermodynamics work even in League of Legends. Rumble winning up top, and Ezreal and Zyra winning at the bottom, trading turrets at the same time. Ooh, good flash from Paragon, he needed to.
The top lane getting aggressed on as well, as Kuban didn't take any damage, but we can see bottom lane now farming freely. It is going to be 136 to 107, so keeping them at the turret has definitely hurt Paragon a little bit. He's been down off the lane twice in those 2 kills to the 2-1 and 2 of Ezreal, who's just feeding himself right now. The Bloodthirster isn't even finished, and he actually is full stacked on it already.
And that's finally the Bloodthirster just coming up now for Paragon. He'll complete it in the base, but otherwise you got Berserker's Greaves and a Doran's Blade, which sure right now is the same as what Ezreal has, but he's also got 900 gold in the bank. And so that's going to be turning into something quite useful very soon. Paragon really like the static shiv. Mockler here, I can't read it just yet. It could be attack speed, it could be a fast Iceborne Gauntlet, it could even be Last Whisper. We'll kind of see what he goes for.
It looks like LGIM slowing things down for a bit as Lee Sin grabs red. They have a few jungle camps to clear. He looks like he's going to guard this top turret as well. Both of these teams are kind of allowed to dictate the game right now. Jace pushes top, they push top on Rumble, they push Jace away. They can really formulate what's going on. Dragon should be coming up in a little bit here, I believe, as we check the timer on that. But Jace is backing, they could prepare for that.
And that's really interesting. So basically, turrets 1 for 1, and Mecha Makers, they're kind of okay leaving top lane once in a while because it'll be very hard to take this turret down here down. So that's actually a lane where MYM is actually allowed to not hold jungle control over. They don't have to be quite as sort of paranoid about where Incredible Miracle is going. But the mid and bottom lane, those are the ones that are really important, that they've got to make sure they have someone at all times.
There's about 4 seconds before Dragon comes up. You have both Rumble and Lee Sin backing. There's Dragon right now. Jace has come down from the top lane after that last back. They're going to put pressure on Rise here, get themselves that Dragon after this push. This should be pretty easy, but they don't have vision on it right now. They are heading in that direction. Amumu grabs red, but there is some caution being played by the team. We heard that ping.
But that was absolutely perfect from Mecha Makers, though. They pulled a lot of cooldowns to force Mid King out of the fight, getting him down to half health. They could have honestly just dove for the Dragon here and sort of relied on the fact that Rise might have been gone. Instead, though, they're just going to have to wait for the cooldowns to come back up. They're actually going to allow Rise's health to come back up. He just leveled up, I believe, so he is just healing from that catalyst, and that aggression just kind of became for nothing.
All right, so with Jace coming down, it looks like they're not going to try to grab Dragon right away. They may get this turret as they just push down under Charu. They don't know the rest of the team is there. Mukate actually could have engaged on that. It looked quite nice under the turret for him with Rise. Now Rise with his blue buff, we can see him doing the damage. He's picked up a few double kills for himself this game, or a double kill I should say, for himself this game. Almost a triple with Lilac coming in, getting the beautiful KS. And at 19 minutes, the aggression is now in and out of the laning phase, I should say, and right on these structures.
Yes. Oh, good charm. They're not going to quite follow up, though. Ring is tanky. He's already finished his Warmogs 18 minutes in from the jungle. That's an impressive feat right there. But that early aggression from him, he got basically second blood for his team off of that. Picked up another kill for himself, and this is very, very good. MYM cannot go for Lee Sin. They don't have the damage to kill him off, and so Ring can be a gigantic troll, and it's going to be just difficult for Meet Your Makers.
This initiation is going to be Lilac if it happens. You can see him charging his steam there. What does he have? What is that?
Fire. He's got pineapples.
Stun him in his yellow bar, but they do engage. There's the equalizer that they were looking for, and it's going to be a 2-for-1 right now. Lee Sin actually falls, 3 going down for LGIM, and under the turret may not have been the best bet for them. A final Q from Machine Gun Rise gives Mid King a kill.
Wow. Get hit. Oh, he gets it. Nice move from Kuban. Heat, by the way, is the Rumble resource.
Yeah.
But Mid King, I think he's stronger. Nope, no longer stronger than Kuban right here. Kuban with some good poke, has the mana. He can get one shot by Rise is the problem, though. So that cannon minion living was what allowed Rise to pick up that turret kill.
Yes, indeed. It looks like he backs off there, and he got 3 kills out of that. Very nice from Mid King. Double buff now sported on him. Top lane is pushing very well, so now it is dictated by LGIM. I said it was back and forth before. We saw how that fight happened. These Lilac equalizers are becoming, or I should say Rumble equalizers are becoming so much more impactful that he's not just building health and Warmogs and tank.
Yes, and I really like that Rumble build. Yes, Lilac did die in that last fight, but I really like the damage-oriented Rumble builds. I think they just have more impact because, honestly, if you know how to play Rumble well, you can position rather safely. You can put yourself in good situations where you're not getting taken down first. You get to get a full Flame Spitter down, and getting a full Flame Spitter when you've built ability power is, in a lot of cases, better than 2 Flame Spitters with a tank build, or even more. So positioning well, building ability power, really, really good when you've got a tank on your roster. And, well, they've got Ring, who's doing amazingly, and Mid King on Rise, who's doing amazingly. So they've got the tanks, go for the damage.
Just passing 20 minutes into the game. Looks like Jace will be backing. How much gold does he have? 1,500, just about 1,600 gold. He actually decides to stay here. Unsure why. He would scale very well with his next item depending on what he decides to buy. I don't think it's going to be those boots. Finish out into that marijuana soon enough.
And instead what you're seeing here is basically the teams squaring back off all across the map. They've kind of reset the entire game. You've got 2 turrets to 1. You've got pretty equal champion kills, pretty equal gold. And, you know, these guys are basically in a situation where they're taking pause because that wasn't even intentional. That wasn't even on purpose when that came out. I am horrible. But basically, you've seen these fights now go back and forth. And both these teams have to realize, you know, for LGIM, we talked about it in the pregame where they'd bring dishonor to Korea if they lost another game in this tournament. They're up 1-0 in this series. They're looking to 2-0 and go into the final. And they know, you know, they just won the first game, though it was very, very close. They know that Meet Your Makers can come from behind. They don't want to make any major mistakes. So they're going to be a little bit more reserved and kind of close this game out because I think they have everything they need to win the game. They just have to play it properly. On the other side, Meet Your Makers realizes that they need to look for catches. If they go into 5-on-5 siege combat, that's kind of in Incredible Miracle's favor. That these 5-on-5 siege combats do not really work well for Ahri. They don't work amazingly for Ezreal. Yeah, they've got some poke there. Yeah, they can 5-on-5 all right. But fighting Rumble, Rise, and Misfortune and Sona together, that is an area of effect comp of Doom. Generally speaking, Meet Your Makers, you know, team comp can team fight, but not like Incredible Miracle's team can. So Meet Your Makers is trying to spread the game out, get people to 1v1 in lanes, and find those roam kills again.
See, that thing I feel, they have the equalizer right now, but I feel like it's almost more impactful than what we're seeing from Makate's Curse of the Sad Mummy, which is usually one of the best crowd controls you have. We saw Snoopy pick it as his favorite champion because you can make game-changing fights happen right away. But the way Lilac is playing, placing those equalizers down, much cleaner, vertical on vertical fights instead of horizontal for the easy walkout on the team. It just allows Ring King to jump in, do what he does best, and really cause aggro for the other team. He kind of gives himself a global hatred as he dives in. Everybody just wants to kill him.
Yes, and that's partially due to his build and partially due to how well he's doing. one of the most fed members on that team, 7,000 gold, second place only behind Rise, who, let's be fair, is the most farm guy in this game by a heck of a lot, and he's building offense. So Lilac puts out incredible damage output throughout fights with Flame Spitter, with Overheat when he goes for it, with just his significant magic penetration build, Sorcerer's Shoes haunting guys, nearly an Abyssal Scepter at this point. The guy is scary, so yes, he's going to pull a lot of aggro from Meet Your Makers, which lets Rise, Mid King, and Paragon of Misfortune just kill things over and over and over. So Lilac is, he's half tanky because he's got levels, he's got some health, some MR, but you can kind of see from these players' faces, they're ready to go. They're looking intense. They want to get this game underway, and to me, Incredible Miracle, they have the team comp, the players, and the play style to kind of do what it takes.
When we see Mid King waiting for an earbud change, just had a bit of a sound effect there that he wanted to get out, so they're bringing him a new pair. And it becomes scary. 6-0 and 3 Rise. And yeah, it's scary when you can finish items and get a huge advancement, but he's piecing items together, knowing his damage now and for the next 5 minutes isn't going to need a next item upgrade. He can piece together all the items he wants and be tanky for everybody on the other team, which is not what you want to put a Rise in at that position.
No, and with Rise doing so well, it's just like, good luck killing him anyway.
Exactly.
He opened Rod of Ages, he got the Tear of the Goddess, but he's letting that charge itself, and then he went Glacial Shroud, he got the Negatron Cloak, he went tanky, so not only is he farmed and putting out good damage, but he's not even going to go down easily. You've seen MYM twice now try to engage him, jump in with Charm, jump in with Curse the Sad Mummy, and he turns it back around on them, makes them burn a flash or picks up a kill, and just withstands it. Now you can see from the players' faces, Lilac Point just kind of yelling out commands. The game is back underway, guys. Let's get this going on.
Looking around, taking stock again at 21 minutes here. 12-9, 32,000 to 28,000. The gap has been bigger. It's only $4,000 that Meet Your Makers has to work themselves back in. And it's not the case of the fight going in their favor this time, so they have to be careful. These engagements are definitely stronger for LGIM right now. The gold says it, the kills say it, and the turrets say it. I think it's the first time we've had that.
In quite a while, yeah, they're actually winning by all fronts in a close game. Normally we have like, well, it's 12 minutes in and the team's basically lost, and it's because they have 7 turrets and 17 kills and 7 million gold. This time they're winning, but not by a whole heck of a lot.
Setting up again in mid. Like you're saying, they just keep squaring off, resetting the map, going to the lanes, and simply pushing them. Nobody's really gaining a huge advantage out of this. They're waiting for that full item fight. Nobody wants to go in right now, especially not Meet Your Makers. LGIM is kind of sitting in the position where they know they're up, and they want the Rune Prison take on one person and then to engage the fight.
Yes, and that's kind of where it comes from. They don't have the easiest engage. Actually, Incredible Miracle, compared to last game where they had Leona to key off of,
right,
it's a little bit more difficult for them to pick fights. Unless they find an open field where they can do an equalizer and then Lee Sin can catch up and eventually, Mid King shows up for Rune Prison, they don't have that same sort of catch potential. So it'll be interesting to see what Incredible Miracle goes for, because while they're better team fighters, without Dragon up and without enough of a lead to go for Baron, they can't easily stretch this lead.
Abyssal Scepter now finished on to Rumble. 127 minion score, that creep score for him. 4, 2, and 5. Did pretty well against Jace top lane. He is down in CS, but those kills have just let him itemize against Jace. We saw Jace taking him out once in the beginning. Kuban was able to get a kill for himself. It happened so quickly we missed it, but then it just seemed like Lilac understood how to mitigate that damage. He didn't even actually build any armor or really that much health. He just kind of went for a little bit of resistance and stayed away from Kuban. He played the lane smart, didn't force himself into anything.
Yeah, exactly. Right after Sorcerer's Shoes, he picked up a fast cloth armor, and he had that cloth armor when he died the first time, to be fair.
Yeah.
And that was it. He just went for hunting guys afterwards, and then it was like, well, I'm winning anyway, screw it, like, let's just keep going Magic Pen, and of course it worked beautifully for him. Now, the interesting thing for me, though, is Mid King, despite having built fairly defensively, has gone Manamune to go for Muramana, which is the more offensive version compared to going for Archangels. So he's looking to be a huge damage source and not actually that huge of a tank overall.
Great job by Mackler to get out of that one, but here comes Rise on the bottom side. A great cleanse saves Mackler. Zaru now getting caught up with the exhaust and right in the bullet time. Ultimate Mackler, a tick of health left. He stays alive. Here comes Lilac from the top side to pick up a kill for himself. And a lot of just positional domination from LGIM there.
And there they go. They found that kill. They found a battle where they could get in behind the opposition and lock them up. Despite not having long-range initiation tools, they got behind the team and surrounded them. You can see a lot of ward coverage in the jungle for them right above this. Very, very well orchestrated fight by Incredible Miracle.
3 for 0 is the way that one goes, and that's not what you want to see 25 minutes into the game. These guys are getting enough items to continue and go into that Baron Den. And it looks like the Muramana has been finished for Rise. That is going to be quite painful for Meet Your Makers coming out here, and they're still building damage. They haven't even had the chance to start mitigating this.
No, not at all. And that's going to be the difficulty here, is that you've got Makate just is not that tanky. He's looking at what I believe is an Aegis of the Legion next, but normally we saw from, just like from guys like Ring on Lee Sin, they rush the Warmog's armor. They go for that 1,000 health to tank out the enemy line. And Makate, his build doesn't have nearly that. He's got 500 on Spirit of the Ancient Golem. He's got a Ruby Crystal, which, yeah, will eventually turn into Aegis, but that's not nearly the tank stats we've got on Lee Sin. And that's difficult. They need some guy to run in there and be a frontline tank, draw the first 2 seconds of Rise's cooldowns, and not die for it. Instead, Mid King says, great, that's nice, you rooted me in place, now you're dead, let's continue on 5v4.
Oh, Zaru getting caught out on top. He goes for the charm, and he's going to be forced to use that Spirit Rush to get out. Lilac doing a great job of just forcing him out of that top lane, continuing to CS and push. And I got to say, if these guys meet in the jungle, it is so going to be in favor of Meet Your Makers. Having Ahri, having a Mumu to be able to just close people off, Zyra ultimate. So maybe Meet Your Makers wants to start taking these fights to the objectives.
I don't actually agree with fighting in the jungle, because they're going to be in confined locations where Rumble, Sona, and Misfortune all shine.
Sure.
They actually want to... Oh, jeez. Rumble did not steal, I don't think. He did not. No, that did go to Jace. But they're actually looking for things maybe more in the lanes. They want to look for surrounds. The way to beat an area of effect team is to get around them, to get in weird locations where you can't put everything together. If they could collapse on a dragon from multiple locations, that's the kind of fight they want. So objectives, sure. For something like Dragon, absolutely. Lizard and Golem, not quite so much for them.
Right on. We'll have to see as they come into the fight. That's a good take on how it could happen. 15-9 at 26 minutes, and now a lot of aggression going on to this middle turret. It's going to be a 5-on-5. Everybody has their foot in this one, and they're taking part in a little bit of the poke back and forth. MYM coming out on top with just a tad bit of damage on the turret as they dodge very well on those skill shots. And it's just kind of a stalemate here, waiting for the next wave. I think this will happen for a few waves until somebody can really get caught out, or somebody want to make some move.
As long as Meet Your Makers is very diligent here and doesn't make any mistakes, they have the exact right team to play this type of fight. Sure, they're down about 5,000 gold, and that kind of matters, but they've got a blue buff Jace, they've got Ezreal, they've got Zyra, they've got just a lot of damage, and look at that.
Wow, they have actually just wasted a lot as well. The bullet time goes down. Lee Sin tried to get in there to help his team engage, but Mackler making moves really quick, got out of any sort of pull-around dragon kick into the turret. 7-4 in turrets altogether, and they're trying to hold this mid one so they don't lose that upper hand.
And this is going to be good for Meet Your Makers. They got Lilac very, very low. He's got Equalizer back up, but that's his only real major tool. The difficulty, though, is that Zyra used her ultimate. That's their major counter engage. And if she doesn't have that, it's going to be hard to get out.
There's the Rumble ultimate. They are going to be able to come out on this one. Focusing Makate down. Lilac finds himself taking damage. Orbit Deception. He does get the last Foxfire down. Zaru picking up the kill. MF takes down Kuban, and they are now being chased out of the fight all the way in the open under the turret. Was not a good idea for MYM.
Man, that was harsh right there. Kuban got caught. And I don't even know how, because there was not flash used from Rise. Sona's ult did not go for him. Kuba just got found by a rune prison. The other 1-for-1 right there, I understand. Lilac went up in there, got caught out by a good amount of crowd control, and dropped down. And an amazing, amazing kick from Ring actually knocked Ezreal into a Mumu, knocking him into the air and allowing him to pick up that kill. So some good moves picked up the 1-for-1, but Kuban I don't think should have gone down there.
So Freak, it actually took one wave for LG to find what they wanted. A good equalizer started it off as they saw Libic miss a few skills. That's really all it takes. A quick initiation and the 5 seconds of a cooldown. LGIM now backing. Going to get some more items. The Black Cleaver for Misfortune and the Red Elixir as well to put on a little extra pain when that happens.
And now we're going to see what Meet Your Makers can do about this, because they've actually been having these fights kind of go the same way over and over. They've got a very good poke team. They've got good long-range tools, some good damage on the Ring. Of course, he's still got Warmog, who doesn't care all that much. And look at that, he's just fine. Meet Your Makers kind of has to play this siege game, this 5-on-5. But I don't know how they win that battle when, you just keep seeing Equalizer go down, and Incredible Miracle just kind of wills the fight to start.
It's going to be a combination of Acceleration Gate and that Frozen Fist, or Iceborne Gauntlet kiting, because they can't engage on these fights fully. We just saw what happened. They weren't really under the turret. I think maybe a few turret shots were taken, and ultimately we still see 91 CS, 0, 5, and 6 on Makate. That hurts a lot for your tank.
he is having a very rough game right here. Amumu is probably the most item-dependent of tanks here because he has no, like, innate defense stats. He's not like Rammus or Alistair where when push comes to shove, at least you can press a button and gate some armor and magic or something. He just got to buy items to do that. He's got the Philosopher's Stone to try to earn him some gold. That's nice and all. He's getting himself, you know, in better shape here to buy some items, but he's still behind the curve in tankiness, and that is rough for him.
Rise now picking up a Warmogs, part of 13 of the 17 kills that his team has right now, and that's absolutely amazing because he still hasn't gone down. Now he becomes somebody they can't focus in the fight. He still has the frozen heart yet to build. He's just kind of, like I said, itemizing the way he wants because his damage is so on par right now.
It's a very intelligent build. He's really interwoven very successfully both damage and durability. If we actually focus on Mid King right now, he's got 3,300 mana, and that's going to allow his overload to hit for plus 215. So just counting base stats, he's hitting for about 416 damage with every overload. Muramana adding even more, 198.
And we're going to see that right now as he turns it on almost half of health of Zaru, and they need to stay away from that from now on.
Yeah, good luck staying away from Rise and the team that is running around. That's the second time we've seen LGIM be able to collapse and surround on a kill. This is a very good Baron attempt for them. I don't see this, except for a steal, I don't know what MYM can do about this.
Mukate would go down so fast, but the bandage toss will give him the gap closing time he needs. The toss goes in. They're not able to get it. MF picks it up after the smite. A nice equalizer to slow Mukate in there and keep MYM out of the rest of the fight.
All right, and there they go. And the thing is, his smite was available. He just could not quite click it in time. Did not quite react to that Baron dropping in health. But now with 2 dead, you're going to chase on a Libic. Libic, good dodge there on the Lee Sin. But he is running. He's got boots of mobility action. He can outrun LGIM right here. Kuban, though, gets found. Paragon lurking through the jungle, finding the kill right there. That was good for him.
Very good push by LGIM here. Rise putting a lot of effort into Libic right now, and Libic just going to pull a Mac Noon and make his way out.
He's going to keep trying. Mid King might be losing interest. It's going to depend because, Libic can go for the execute, and Mid King will not find him there. He's probably going to check this brush and then realize, yeah, there we go. Libic going for the execute. He should make it out.
Rise is backing. That takes 8 seconds still. Libic's more than happy to just hang out, trying to get a CS before he goes down. Oh, unfortunate. This mid lane being pushed. However, though, the execute happens. Now going to be a 3v3 in mid as the inhibitor turret goes down and Mumu initiates. And that's a quick out for Ring.
And Ring picking up Mercury Treads is very important for him. He realized that there was a lot of physical damage on the other team with Jace and Ezreal there, but instead of going Ninja Tabi, he realizes that he's mostly going to die if he gets caught, more so than persistent attacks from Ezreal. So it goes for the Mercury Treads, allows himself to kind of say, yeah, maybe you hit me, but I'm going to W away and get myself out there. Ring playing a phenomenal game, 1-1-10, and he's just wreaking havoc throughout this game.
So we see LGIM Freak in a very familiar spot, quite ahead in the game. Will they falter this time? I think with how powerful Mid King is right now at 8-0-7, that's going to be very hard, but we've seen it before.
We have seen crazy things happen before, absolutely. But right now, Incredible Miracle are doing a very good job hedging their bets. Because Mid King, right, crazy powerful, puts out a lot of damage, actually quite tanky as well. Averaging about 100 armor and magic resist, 3,700 health, still has items to complete.
Kuban top lane finds Paragon, the ultimate to finish him.
Ouch. And yeah, you're seeing the AD carry able to solo the top laner with no worries whatsoever. So Mid King very durable. Paragon, though he only has 2 offensive items, also has a Quicksilver Sash, which is the only way he goes down really either is getting caught out. Paragon's going to find someone else to kill, and Mid King from the side as well.
Mackler giving some pressure to Ring here.
Steal.
Wow.
Yep, Paragon gets all that.
Uses the cleanse to make it out fully. You can hear the crowd absolutely loving it right now. LGIM playing very well and dominant in this game. They are up 9,000 gold right now, 6-3 in turrets, and they are pressuring that factor in mid now as the turrets are all the way down to the inhibitor. Curse of the Sad Mummy just to keep himself alive. And the equalizer wasted as well, so a few ultimates for either. Overdrive also our desperate power rather used for Rise, the Rune Prison. Oh, he tries to cleanse it, loses the summoner spell and his life.
Beautiful job right there. They've now got control over the inhibitor. They've got at least 20 seconds of, well, with 2 up top, 20 seconds of a 5-on-3 right here. And they're going to just collapse for this top inhibitor turret. Lilac could honestly tank it if he wanted to. He's got durability. And there they go, in on this turret. This is going to be theirs as well.
This is a big 5-on-3 power play for them. They know they are confident in their positioning. Mukate does not have his ultimate. He had to use it defensively to get out last time. Zyra's ultimate is down. They have no area of effect here, trying to charm out Rumble, and they really can't get too much damage down. The ultimate shredding armor. Black Cleaver doing so much. They're able to turn one down onto Jace. Mukate, no room prison to lock him up, but now they're forced in the base. We've heard the care ping going in towards LGIM, but they stay free.
All right, and there we go. The charm up on a Lilac. Problem is they're still fighting 4-on-5 over and over and over again. Mockler finally back in the game, has decent items for himself. Honestly, he actually out-damaged his Misfortune in just straight auto attack trades because he's doing pretty well for himself. But you can't really say the rest, or say the same for the rest of his team there. Basically, all of Incredible Miracle are incredibly difficult to deal with, very damaging and or very tanky, oftentimes both. And now an Infinity Edge for Paragon. Well, everyone's just much stronger than their counterparts on the other side.
And still, Mukate having a very rough game. He does have some of those assists coming in, so we see him finish the Bulwark. That's going to be big for his team, especially from that Rise, especially from that Rumble. 3 Warmogs stand in their way to 0 right now. That is painful.
That is very, very painful. Now, and the thing is, they don't even have a lick of percent health damage aside from the Deathfire Grasp here on Charu, which will help them burst someone down, but they can't burst. Meet Your Makers would not win a burst fight. They wouldn't win an all-in 5-on-5 because they're fighting a 5-on-5 area of effect team. They've got to somehow string these battles out, somehow not die to Rise, which I don't even see being possible. He's actually picked up the Furor enchant just to give himself more move speed as he picks people down. Mid King's got everything to do here.
LGIM needs to push. They need to pressure. 3 players at 18 right now to the 116 of Jaru. 16 is the closest behind that. So just in levels, just in scaling those 3 Warmogs, you can put it into amount of abilities. It's going to have to be MYM cycling through their abilities at least 3 to 4 times in a fight to take someone down here. They're going to be pushing the bottom lane Freak. They have so much momentum right now, and it looks like they are confident about another inhibitor turret.
And by all rights, this should be theirs. LGIM looking for the pressure. They put some damage on Charu. Here they go.
And it's going to be right onto Jaru, as you said. A beautiful Zyra ultimate stops that, but the Equalizer cuts them off from running to base. Jace forced to flash over, as well as Jaru. A last tick of the Ignite leaves him alive. Oh my gosh. Trying to come in for these 2 go down, 3 go down. They are going to finalize this last inhibitor turret. A double kill, 11, 0, and 8 right now for Mid King.
That was beautiful right there. The turret is theirs. The great bounces from Rise picking the kill up in the backside. And Mockler getting caught out. So much damage onto him. Tries to arcane shift away. He's not going to get 2. This game is going to LGIM. Congratulations, 2-0. And they're going to be in the grand final.
A very strong finishing by LGIM. They made sure there was no falter or backstep in this game. The GGs come out from Meet Your Makers. And we are going to see them facing off against Millennium in the upcoming matchup. Or Nexus.
Nexus it is,
Nexus.
Yes. A Nexus and LGIM. I think one of these teams we had predicted to hit the final, and they've made that happen, but a Nexus were a real upstart here. Very surprising team to do that. But man, did LGIM look good here.
That was absolutely amazing. We saw Rise used earlier in the weekend, and it wasn't so much of an impact player, but I guess when you put it on the King of Mid, you're gonna make some things happen.
Yeah, and absolutely, man. The guy deserving of his crown there. 12-0-8, most kills on his team. 20 action score.
Highest CS too.
Yeah, he's got 291. No, 298 on Mackler.
That Mackler.
Yeah, Scumbag Ezreal out CSing. But yeah, you had a pretty much immaculate game there by Incredible Miracle. They came in there. They lost their blue book by a really smart invade. They lost first blood on that invade. But Ring, you can see on the very far right there, hugging up on Paragon. They they went for the late invade, the counter invade back onto blue, and it worked. It worked. He outfought Amumu there, forced him away. Amumu's ward timed out, went back in, and then it looked uncoordinated from Meet Your Makers. Kuban kind of came in a little bit late. Charu never showed up. Mid King actually did arrive himself, and you just kind of had to wonder, how could Meet Your Makers not have spent more effort there, securing the Golem buff? They didn't make the same kind of moves that LGIM did, and that was actually a huge factor. It got an early kill. It got Mid King started.
All right, guys. Well, we'll have to see what the experts have to say about this, because we're going to throw it over to them right now.
Yes, thank you very much. Welcome back to the analysis desk for the final time in the semi-finals. LG Incredible Miracle going through just as we predicted in 2 straight maps, and it was easy.
Yeah, and then Easy, I don't think is the right word for it. But they did a fantastic job there. That rise, it was just amazing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was amazing.
908 from Mid-King.
Not a bad score. It's all
It
right.
was amazing.
Yeah. 17 kills involvement of 22 or something I think they had at the end. So yeah, pretty good. We're going to go back to 27.5 minutes in where there was a 2-for-1 for LGIM, but it could have gone the other way, Jason.
Yeah, it should have gone the other way, actually. We did see, unfortunately, Mumu, he missed the ultimate. He only hit one person, which was just Rumble, and that kind of set the entire fight. You can't afford to do something like that. I just see right here, they do chase him away, but if you can hit the entire team with how low they are right now, I mean, look at this. Paragon's about half health, Lasha's at half health. You have Lilac about to die, you have Ring who's even at half health, but yet he only pretty much hits Lilac with it, and because of that, they didn't get to lock down the rest of the team. Jace gets finished off by the rest of their DPS, and they just die one by one.
Yeah, and I think the big part there as well was you were saying they're at half health, which was a lot more health than Meet Your Makers had, even at half health. Like they were a lot stronger than them in terms of health and stuff like that. I think Freak touched on the point that the Amumu build,
wasn't a big fan.
might not have been all that amazing because he doesn't have that real innate tankiness of being able to press that button to really switch it on. And I think that could have really hurt Meet Your Makers going forward.
Okay, well, LGIM are through to the grand final. It does mean that the two teams who have gone through to the grand final are the two that hadn't qualified for the Intel Extreme Masters World Championship, which now means that LGIM and Anexus have both taken the last two spots, which actually has denied CJ Entus from taking a spot at the World Championship. I mean, it will still shake out because I'm sure there will be a couple of teams who maybe can't go, or as we know with AL have disbanded and maybe they don't field another team. So still a chance for some other teams to feature in that.
Yeah.
But MYM won't be too upset because they've had a great season overall, Joe.
No, but like I said, I think for Millennium and for Meet Your Makers in particular, and Nexus of course as well, but I think for Meet Your Makers and Millennium, two teams who people had on paper to qualify for Season 3 but then didn't, I think this event was like a chance to say, okay, we believe in ourselves, we can do this one, we can go there, win it, and then they would have been feeling, all right, they've not qualified for Season 3, but they know that they can beat some of the top teams.
Sure.
But that hasn't happened for either of them. We've got an LGIM versus a Nexus final. LGIM definitely were the number one predicted team to be there, and Nexus definitely weren't.
No, absolutely. So it's going to be a very interesting final indeed. Just a quick reminder for you, contact us on all sorts of social media, Facebook, YouTube and Twitter, all of those .com/IEM. And just a reminder for you, the MVP vote is up on Facebook.com/IEM right now. And I can tell you that there's a Brazilian in the lead right now as well. So I'm not telling you who, but that's all you're going to know. Go and vote for your favourite player of the tournament, and we'll take your vote and we'll find out who is actually going to win that award, as well as who's going to become the IEM Brazil champion. It's going to be LGIM or it's going to be a Nexus. Just one more Polish team in the way for the Koreans. For now, though, we're going to send it back to the stage for our post-match interview.
Boa noite, São Paulo. Eu tô aqui com a Lilac, o top laner do LGIM. I'm here with Lilac, top laner for LGIM. E eu vou fazer algumas perguntas para eles. I'll do a quick interview. A primeira pergunta é, Lilac, por que vocês não fizeram lane swap nesse jogo?
왜 이 게임에서 라인 스왑을 안 했는지 물어봐요.
저희가 라인 스왑을 하지 않았던 이유는 굳이 라인 스왑을 하지 않아도 모든 라인에서 저희가 이길 것이라고 자신을 갖고 있었기 때문입니다.
Aí ele falou que não fizeram line swap porque depois de ver os piques deles e a habilidade de cada um, eles falaram que mesmo sem fazer, eles estariam confiantes para ganhar a lane mesmo sem dar line swap.
They told me that they didn't do a lane swap because with their picks they will be pretty confident to win the lane anyway. Second question, what do you think of Rumble? Why he's winning so much? O que você acha do Rumble? Por que ele está ganhando tanto?
럼블 대해서 왜 다른 모든 팀들이 이기는지 라일락 생각에는
아무래도 이 브라질에서 여기 관객분들의 환호가 너무 엄청나기 때문에 그것과 그리고 럼블의 화염 방사기의 시너지 효과가 돼서 모든 럼블이 이기는 게 아닌가 하는 생각이 들어요.
o pessoal aqui, a torcida brasileira é muito agitada, então cada vez que o Rumble solta o R dele, todo mundo sai gritando, então a torcida parece que mata junto com os jogadores quando tem um Rumble no time.
He told us that the Brazilian crowd loves when Rumble OTs, and it's like they're killing with Rumble, so that's why he picked them. One last question, uma última pergunta. Do you have a message for all this crowd? Você tem uma mensagem para essa plateia?
지금 저기 브라질 사람들한테 말씀을 하나 부탁드립니다.
이번에 IEM 대회 때문에 이곳에 처음으로 오게 됐는데 이곳 브라질 사람들 열기에 굉장히 놀라웠어요. 저희에게는 처음 온 곳인데 이렇게 엄청난 환호성을 주셔서 굉장히 감사드리고 앞으로도 많은 응원 부탁드리면 감사하겠습니다.
Acho que eles entenderam. Ele, na verdade, a primeira vez está no Brasil por causa do LGIM. E ele tomou um susto por causa da torcida, porque não existe torcida igual assim em outro lugar.
It was actually his first time in Brazil for LGIM, and he was quite scared because it's a very loud crowd, but now he's happy that they're on his side. So now we go on a short break, and please stay tuned for our finals on LGIM and Annexus.